Listen to me carefully, my child. Do not be distracted. Do not scroll away. This message is not random, and it is not for everyone. I am the Lord your God, and I have come to you now because someone is trying to block the path I opened for you. Yes, there is a person who sees what I am about to do in your life, and fear has entered their heart. They are uncomfortable with your progress. They are disturbed by your peace. They are threatened by the future I revealed to you. But hear me clearly. No human can cancel what I have decreed. I allowed you to hear this message because the attack was already forming, and heaven moved before the trap closed. If you believe this message is for you, type Amen in the comments now. If you trust me, write, Lord, I receive your protection. Do not stay silent. Your declaration activates what I am about to do. Many of my children are suffering delays, confusion, sudden obstacles, not because I abandoned them, but because someone is standing in the spiritual doorway, trying to resist your advancement. Today, I will expose this. Today, I will stop it. Today, I will teach you a prayer that shuts every evil mouth, breaks every hidden resistance, and restores your path. Stay with me until the end. What you are about to receive will not only protect you, it will reverse what was meant to harm you. The spiritual alert. You are not expecting my child. There are moments when obstacles are natural, and there are moments when they are intentional. Right now, you are not facing resistance by chance. You have felt it, haven't you? Things were moving, and suddenly stopped. Doors were almost opening, then delayed. Peace was present, then confusion appeared. Motivation was strong, then discouragement whispered. This is not your imagination. I allowed the veil to be lifted because someone has been speaking against you, either with their words, their thoughts, or their intentions. Not everyone who smiles at you wants your breakthrough. Not everyone who knows your plans is praying for your success. Some people smile in the natural, but resist you in the spiritual. If you have felt sudden resistance lately, type, I feel it, Lord, in the comments. If you know God is speaking to you right now, write, God is with me. Hear me. When I prepare to elevate someone, opposition always reacts. When I prepare to bless, envy becomes loud in silence. When I prepare to open a new season, the enemy tries to delay, confuse, or block. But I want you to understand something powerful. They can try, but they cannot win. I see every hidden intention. I hear every whispered word spoken against you. I know every plan designed to slow you down. And today I'm alerting you because this is the moment to pray. Not later, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Delaying prayer strengthens the resistance. Immediate prayer breaks it. That is why I brought you here. Before we continue, declare out loud or in the comments, no one will block what God has planned for me. My child, do not be afraid. This resistance is not a sign of failure. It is proof that you are close to something important. The next part, I will reveal how to recognize exactly how God shows you when someone is trying to block your path, and why ignoring these signs can delay what I promised. Stay with me. How I reveal. When someone is trying to block your path, my child, I am not a God who allows harm without warning. When someone tries to stand in the way of what I have prepared for you, I always send signs first, but many ignore them. Others doubt them, and some feel them deeply, yet do nothing. Now listen carefully because I am revealing what many never discern. One of the first signs is unusual spiritual heaviness. You wake up tired even after resting. Your joy feels interrupted for no clear reason. Your thoughts become crowded, restless, distracted. This is not weakness, this is spiritual interference. Another sign is sudden resistance where there was flow. Plans that were aligning begin to stall. Messages go unanswered. Opportunities slow down without explanation. I am not saying this to frighten you. I am saying this to prepare you. If you have noticed strange delays lately, type, Lord, open my eyes in the comments. If you sense this message is describing your season, write, God is revealing it to me. I also reveal opposition through dreams and inner warnings. You may dream of being chased, blocked, silenced, or restrained, or you may feel a strong inner nudge telling you, pray now, That nudge is not fear, that is me. Many times the person trying to block your path is not openly hostile. They may be close. They may know your story. They may even speak kindly to your face. But hear me. Not everyone who has access to you should have spiritual access to you. That is why discernment is protection. Declare this now. Lord, remove every hidden opposition from my path. My child, because you are listening, I am also giving you divine armor. There are prayers that do not only comfort, they shield. They do not only calm, they defend. And I want you protected, not exposed. That is why I have allowed a gift to be placed in your path at this very moment, a gift of powerful prayers for protection and spiritual strength. Prayers that call upon heavenly defense, that surround you like armor in times of unseen battle. If your spirit feels the need for stronger protection, if you desire to stand firm and covered, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift that has been prepared for you. Do not delay what is meant to strengthen you now. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. In the next chapter, I will reveal the true spiritual origin of these blockages and why some obstacles cannot be removed by effort, only by authority. Stay with me. The true spiritual origin of the blockage. My child, what you are facing is not merely human. Some obstacles are visible, others are rooted in the unseen. You have tried effort, you have tried patience, you have tried reasoning and strategy, yet the resistance remained. That is because this blockage did not begin in the natural and it began in the spiritual. Hear me clearly now. There are moments when I allow challenges to strengthen you, and there are moments when the enemy assigns resistance to delay your destiny. This is one of those moments. The enemy does not attack randomly. He studies timing. He targets seasons of transition. He reacts when he senses movement, elevation, and divine acceleration. And right now, you are transitioning. If you know you're entering a new season, type, I am stepping forward in the comments. If you feel resistance because of growth, write, I will not stop. The person trying to block your path may not even realize they are being used. Their jealousy, their bitterness, their unresolved wounds. All of this becomes a doorway. But understand this truth. No doorway is stronger than my authority. That is why human solutions alone cannot fix spiritual interference. You do not fight spiritual resistance with logic. You fight it with authority, prayer, and divine armor. Many of my children fall into this trap. They recognize the problem, but they try to solve it without covering themselves first. And I say this in love. Exposure is dangerous during spiritual conflict. That is why I am calling you into protection, not panic. Into preparation, not fear. Declare this now. Lord, cover me completely. There are prayers that create distance between you and harm. Prayers that silence spiritual interference. Prayers that activate heavenly protection around your mind, your home, your plans, and your future. This is why I have placed a special gift within your reach. A collection of powerful prayers for protection and spiritual strength. Prayers that call upon angelic defense that surround you like armor when resistance rises. If your spirit is saying, I need protection now, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It has been placed there for this exact moment. Do not ignore protection when you are being advanced. In the next chapter, I will expose the spirit of envy and opposition, and why some resistance comes from those who once celebrated you. Stay with me. The spirit of envy and opposition sent against you. My child, listen to me with discernment now, because what I am about to reveal many refuse to accept, yet it explains why your path has been resisted. Not every battle comes from strangers. Not every opposition comes from enemies you can see. Some resistance rises from envy hidden behind familiarity. Yes, from people who once celebrated you. From people who had access to your life, from people who watched me lift you and quietly resented it. Hear me clearly. Envy is one of the oldest spiritual weapons used against my children. It was envy that turned brothers against brothers. It was envy that caused betrayal. It was envy that opened doors for spiritual interference. If this resonates with your spirit, type, "Lord, reveal the truth" in the comments. If you sense this chapter is speaking directly to you, write, "God is opening my eyes." Envy does not always shout. Most of the time it whispers. It smiles while wishing delay. It congratulates while hoping failure. It listens closely, not to support, but to measure and compare. And comparison, when mixed with insecurity, becomes a spiritual poison. My child, I want you to understand something important. Not everyone who asks about your life is entitled to know what I am doing in you. Some people gather information to pray. Others gather information to oppose. That is why I have been teaching you silence. That is why I have been pulling you back. That is why I have been asking you to guard your words. You thought it was distance. You thought it was isolation. But it was protection. Declare this now. Lord, guard my mouth and my spirit. There are people who cannot block you directly, so they attempt to influence the atmosphere around you. They speak doubt. They release discouragement. They plant seeds of fear, intentionally or not. And words, when fueled by envy, carry weight in the spiritual realm. But hear me. No word spoken against you is stronger than my word spoken over you. I have already spoken life. I have already spoken favor. I have already spoken advancement. And what I speak cannot be reversed by jealousy. Still, wisdom demands covering. That is why I do not only warn you, I equip you. If you desire to walk protected, type, "Cover me, Lord." My child, some of the resistance you felt recently was not because you were doing something wrong. It was because you were doing something right. Your growth exposed insecurity. Your peace unsettled unrest. Your progress reminded others of what they avoided becoming. And when unresolved pain sees obedience, it often reacts with opposition. But I say to you now, do not shrink to make others comfortable. Do not dim what I ignited. Do not slow what I accelerated. Instead, shield yourself and move forward. That is why spiritual armor is not optional. It is necessary. There are prayers that do more than ask. They defend, they surround. They stand watch while you rest. And I desire you to be fully covered. That is why, once again, I remind you of the gift placed before you. A gift of 21 prayers for protection and spiritual strength. Prayers that call upon angelic defense, that wrap your life in heavenly armor during seasons of opposition. If your spirit feels exposed, if you sense unseen pressure, go now to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It was not placed there by chance. My child, understand this truth deeply. Envy loses power when you are spiritually guarded. When you are covered, their words fall to the ground. Their intentions dissolve. Their plans return empty. I see what they tried to do. I see what they whispered. I see what they hoped would delay you. And I tell you now, it will not work. Because I am not only removing resistance, I am reversing it. What was meant to slow you will push you forward. What was meant to confuse you will clarify your direction. What was meant to block you will become the proof that I am with you. Declare this with faith. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Stay alert, but do not be afraid. Stay discerning, but do not be bitter. Stay covered and continue walking. In the next chapter, I will warn you about what happens when prayer is neglected and why silence in the spirit can empower resistance. Stay with me. What happens when you do not pray? My child, I speak to you now not with condemnation, but with truth and urgency. There are moments when silence is rest, and there are moments when silence becomes permission. Hear me carefully. When you do not pray during spiritual resistance, you are not remaining neutral, you are leaving space. And space, when unguarded, is never empty. You wondered why the pressure increased. You wondered why confusion lingered. You wondered why the resistance did not leave on its own. It is because some battles do not retreat unless they are confronted. If you have delayed prayer lately, type, "Lord, forgive me" in the comments. If you are ready to pray again with authority, write, "I return to prayer." My child, prayer is not only communication, it is alignment. When you pray, you align your spirit with my authority. When you pray, you close doors that were quietly opening. When you pray, you remind the unseen realm who you belong to. But when prayer stops, resistance grows bold, not because it is stronger, but because it senses absence of resistance. I have seen many of my children grow weary. Life became heavy, disappointments piled up, and instead of praying, they withdrew, not because they lacked faith, but because they were tired. And I understand that weariness. But listen to me now. Spiritual weariness is exactly when prayer is most necessary. The enemy does not attack when you are strong and alert. He waits until you are exhausted, distracted, overwhelmed. He waits until prayer feels optional, and that is when he pushes. Declare this now. Prayer is my refuge, not my last option. My child, when prayer is neglected, three things happen. First, discernment weakens. You begin to question what you once knew clearly. You feel unsure about decisions you were once confident about. Second, fear gains volume. Thoughts become louder. Worries feel heavier. Peace feels distant. Third, resistance gains access, not ownership, access. And access is all the enemy needs to delay. But hear me. Delay is not denial. Even now, as you listen, I am restoring alignment. If you desire your alignment restored, type, "Align me, Lord." Prayer does not require perfection, it requires presence. You do not need the right words, you need a willing heart. When you pray, even weakly, I strengthen you. When you pray, even briefly, I move fully. And when you pray with authority, resistance breaks. That is why I am calling you back, not into ritual, but into relationship and authority. My child, some of what you blamed on exhaustion was actually spiritual pressure. Some of what you called coincidence was actually opposition testing your consistency. But today, the testing ends. Say this now, out loud if you can. I will not stop praying. I do not need long prayers to act. I need sincere ones. Even a whispered prayer spoken with faith moves heaven. And when heaven moves, blockages tremble. This is why protection prayers are so powerful. They do not wait for the attack to become visible. They stand guard before harm approaches. They do not react. They prevent. And I desire you protected, not constantly recovering. That is why I continue to remind you of the gift placed before you. A gift of 21 prayers for protection and spiritual strength. Prayers designed to cover your mind, your home, your steps, and your future. Prayers that invoke angelic defense when words fail. If you feel the need to strengthen your prayer life, if you desire to remain covered even on weary days, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It is there to help you stand when you feel tired. My child, neglecting prayer does not make you weak. It makes you uncovered. And being uncovered in a season of advancement is dangerous. But the good news is this. You are returning at the right moment. You are listening now. You are responding now. You are choosing alignment now. And because of that, what tried to grow in silence will now dissolve in authority. Declare with faith. Every delay is breaking now. In the next chapter, I will remind you of the authority I placed within you and why you are not as powerless as resistance wants you to believe. Stay with me. The authority I placed inside you and why they fear it. My child, I need you to listen to me now without doubt, because what I am about to reveal changes the way you see yourself forever. You have underestimated what I placed inside you. You saw yourself as someone trying to survive, while the unseen realm sees you as someone who carries authority. That is why resistance reacted. Opposition does not rise against weakness. It reacts to potential. It responds to assignment. It flinches when it senses divine authority awakening. And yes, you are awakening. If you feel something stirring inside you right now, type, I feel it. If you sense that God is reminding you who you are, write, I am chosen. My child, authority is not volume. It is not force. It is not arrogance. Authority is knowing who sent you. When you walk without understanding this, you tolerate what you were meant to command. You negotiate with what was supposed to obey. And that is exactly what the enemy hoped you would keep doing. But today, that ends. I did not place my breath in you so you would live intimidated. I did not guide you this far so you would shrink at resistance. I did not protect you repeatedly for you to forget who stands behind you. Hear me clearly now. You are not asking permission to move forward. You are authorized to do so. The reason someone tried to block your path is because they sensed you were about to walk boldly. They sensed a shift in your posture. They felt your hesitation turning into resolve. They noticed your silence becoming discernment, and that frightened them. Because authority does not announce itself. It moves. Declare this now, slowly and with faith. I walk with God-given authority. My child, I have watched you question yourself while heaven was affirming you. I have seen you hesitate while angels were already assigned. Yes, assigned to protect, assigned to guide, assigned to reinforce what I have spoken over you. But authority must be activated. It is not activated by fear. It is activated by agreement. When you agree with what I say about you, the unseen aligns. When you doubt what I say about you, resistance grows louder. That is why the enemy attacks identity before destiny. If he can make you feel small, you will never step into what requires boldness. But today I remind you, you are not small. You are sent. If you receive this truth, type, I am sent. My child, there are moments when prayer shifts from asking to declaring. Moments when you stop saying, Lord, please, and start saying, Lord, I stand. And when you stand, things move. Not because of your strength, but because of alignment. Authority flows where alignment exists. That is why fear tries to keep you distracted. That is why confusion tries to exhaust you. That is why discouragement whispers, wait, not now, later. Because later weakens authority, now activates it. And now is where you are. Say this now. I stand now. My child, you were never meant to fight every battle alone. Authority does not mean isolation. Authority means knowing when to stand and when to be covered. That is why spiritual armor matters. Not because you are fragile, but because you are valuable. Kings wear armor not because they fear battle, but because they expect victory. And you, my child, are walking into victory. That is why I placed a gift of protection in your path. A gift of prayers that strengthen your authority, that surround you with heavenly defense, that reinforce your stance when pressure rises. If you are ready to walk boldly and covered, if you desire to stand without fear, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It was placed there to support your authority, not replace it. My child, understand this. When you walk in authority, those who tried to block you lose interest. Resistance retreats when it realizes intimidation no longer works. And soon, you will notice something shift. Conversations will change. Opposition will quiet. Paths will open with less effort. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Declare this with confidence. I will no longer shrink. In the next chapter, I will show you the exact moment resistance breaks and what happens in the unseen realm when you speak with authority and prayer combined. Stay with me. You are closer than you think. The moment resistance breaks, what happens when you pray with authority? My child, there is a moment, unseen by human eyes, when resistance reaches its limit. It does not announce itself. It does not make noise. But everything changes at once. This moment is not determined by time. It is determined by alignment. You have prayed before. You have believed before. But there is a difference between prayer that asks and prayer that stands. And today, I am teaching you the difference. Listen carefully. Resistance breaks when fear no longer leads your words. It breaks when doubt stops negotiating. It breaks when your voice aligns with my authority, not your emotions. Many pray hoping something might happen. Few pray knowing something must move. That knowing, that quiet certainty, is where resistance fractures. If you desire that certainty, type, I stand in faith. If you are ready to stop praying timidly, write, I pray with authority. My child, the unseen realm responds to clarity. When your prayer is confused, resistance lingers. When your prayer is desperate, resistance delays. But when your prayer is aligned, resistance collapses. Not slowly, not partially, completely. This is why I have been preparing you internally before changing anything externally. You thought the delay was punishment. You thought the silence was absence. But it was training. I was teaching you how to speak without trembling, how to pray without begging, how to stand without proving. Because authority does not explain itself, authority declares. Say this now, with calm strength. I declare what God has spoken over me. My child, when you pray with authority, the unseen does not ask for explanations. Assignments shift, plans dissolve, interference loses coordination. What once felt heavy suddenly feels irrelevant, and you may not even notice the exact second it happens. You will simply notice peace returning, clarity sharpening, movement resuming. That is how resistance breaks, not with noise, with order. Heaven is a realm of order. Resistance thrives in chaos. That is why confusion was its weapon against you. But now, clarity has arrived. If clarity is entering your mind right now, type, I see clearly. My child, there is something else I must reveal. Resistance does not always flee immediately. Sometimes it tests. It watches to see if you will return to doubt, if you will soften your stance, if you will retreat emotionally. This is where many lose momentum. They prayed once, felt relief, then relaxed their posture, and resistance returned, not stronger, but familiar. That is why consistency matters, not obsession, not fear-driven repetition, consistency of alignment. When your posture remains firm, resistance stops testing. It looks for easier ground, and you, my child, are no longer easy ground. Declare this calmly. I remain firm. You do not need to fight constantly. You need to remain aligned. Alignment is quieter than fear, but far more powerful. That is why authority feels peaceful, not frantic. When you are aligned, you stop explaining yourself to the unseen. You stop reacting emotionally to opposition. You move forward while resistance realizes it no longer has your attention. And attention is fuel. You starve resistance by refusing to fear it. My child, you are learning how to walk forward without checking behind you. That is maturity. That is authority. And authority attracts protection. This is why spiritual armor becomes visible after authority is activated, not before. Armor is not for hiding. It is for advancing. That is why I placed a gift of protective prayers along your path, not to make you cautious, but to make you confident. Prayers that reinforce your stance. Prayers that surround you quietly. Prayers that hold the line even when you rest. If you desire to remain protected while you advance, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It exists to support your forward movement. My child, hear this carefully. The moment resistance breaks, you will not hear applause. You will hear silence, and silence after pressure is confirmation. Silence means the opposition lost momentum. Silence means confusion lost its voice. Silence means peace reclaimed territory. Do not mistake silence for emptiness. It is victory settling in. If you feel peace right now, type, I receive peace. Soon you will notice changes that feel almost subtle. People who questioned you will stop commenting. Delays that frustrated you will quietly resolve. Paths that felt blocked will reopen without drama. And you may wonder what changed. You did. You stopped reacting. You started standing. That is the turning point. My child, this is not the end of the battle. It is the end of intimidation. From this point forward, you move with awareness, not fear. With confidence, not urgency. With faith that is settled, not anxious. In the next chapter, I will show you the signs that confirm the blockage has already been removed, so you do not second-guess what I have done. Stay with me. You are walking into open space now. The signs that prove the blockage has already been removed. My child, many of my children miss the moment of victory because they expect it to arrive with noise. They look for thunder. They wait for dramatic announcements. They expect visible confrontation. But I move differently. When a blockage is removed, The first sign is not external. It is internal. Something inside you settles. You cannot explain it, but the urgency fades. The tightness loosens. The pressure that followed you quietly steps away. This is not imagination. This is confirmation. If you feel lighter right now, type, "I feel peace." If something shifted while listening, write, "Something changed." My child, when resistance is removed, your thoughts regain order. You stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios. You stop anticipating opposition. You stop preparing for defense. Your mind becomes quieter, not empty, focused. And focus is a sign of freedom. Because when resistance was present, your attention was scattered. But now clarity is returning. Clarity is heaven's fingerprint. Another sign appears subtly in your emotions. You stop reacting. Situations that once triggered anxiety no longer control your mood. People who once disturbed your spirit lose influence over your peace. This is not emotional numbness. This is authority settling into place. You are no longer governed by what surrounds you. You are anchored by what I placed within you. Declare this quietly in your heart. I am anchored. My child, when a blockage is removed, the unseen rearranges itself before the visible does. This is important. Do not rush to judge by appearances. Just because you do not see instant movement does not mean nothing is happening. In the spiritual realm, order is restored before results are revealed. Assignments are canceled. Opposition loses coordination. Interference is reassigned away from your path. And while all this is happening, you are given something precious: rest. Rest is not inactivity. Rest is confidence without strain. You move forward without forcing. You make decisions without panic. You wait without anxiety. That is a sign that the blockage has already been handled. If rest is returning to your heart, type, "I trust you." Another sign appears in your relationships. Conversations shift. Some people become quieter. Others naturally drift away. A few suddenly show respect they never showed before. This is not coincidence. When resistance loses authority over you, those influenced by it lose leverage. They may not understand why. They may not even be aware of the change. But they feel it, and they respond accordingly. Do not chase explanations. Do not reopen doors for clarity. Silence in this season is confirmation. My child, when a blockage is removed, momentum returns, but gently, not rushed, not chaotic. You begin to notice small openings. A message comes at the right time. An idea lands clearly in your mind. An opportunity reappears without struggle. These are not random. They are signs that flow has resumed. Flow does not push, it carries. Declare this with calm faith. I move with flow. Now listen carefully, because this next truth is crucial. After a blockage is removed, there is a window of vulnerability. Not because resistance is returning, but because old habits might. This is where many reopen what I already closed. They return to doubt, they revisit fear, they speak carelessly, they share too much, and without realizing it, they weaken their covering. That is why protection remains essential after victory. You do not stop guarding a city just because the enemy retreated. You guard it because peace has been restored. That is wisdom. That is maturity. That is why I have kept reminding you of the gift prepared for you. A gift of prayers for protection and spiritual strength. Prayers designed not only for battle, but for maintenance of peace. If you desire to remain covered while you move forward, if you want your peace protected, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It exists to help you guard what has been restored. My child, another sign will soon appear. You will stop seeking validation. You will no longer need reassurance that you are on the right path. You will simply know. That knowing does not shout, it does not argue, it rests. And rest is the language of trust. When you trust me, you stop checking behind you. You stop scanning for threats. You walk forward without explaining your confidence. That is when your pace changes. You move slower, yet you arrive faster. Because resistance is no longer draining you. If you feel this confidence growing, type, I walk forward. My child, there will be moments when the past tries to remind you of how hard things once felt. Do not romanticize struggle. Do not question peace. Peace is not laziness. Peace is alignment, and alignment accelerates what effort never could. Soon you will look back and realize the blockage ended long before the results became visible, and you will understand, I was working while you were resting. That is how I move. That is how I protect. That is how I restore. In the next chapter, I will warn you about the one mistake that can reopen closed doors and how to avoid it completely. Stay with me. The one mistake that reopens doors. I already closed, my child. Now I speak to you with precision. What I am about to reveal is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to preserve what I have already done. Many victories are lost, not because the enemy returned stronger, but because discipline quietly weakened. The door I closed was real. The blockage I removed was complete. But there is one mistake that can reopen what I sealed. And most people never realize they are the ones turning the handle. Listen carefully. The mistake is not sin in the obvious sense. It is not rebellion. It is not disbelief. It is careless agreement. Agreement with thoughts you did not question. Agreement with emotions you did not guard. Agreement with words you spoke casually. Words spoken without awareness carry power longer than you think. If you are listening closely, type, I am aware. My child, when peace returns, many relax their discernment. They assume the battle is over forever. They stop guarding their inner world. They allow old thought patterns to return because they feel familiar. But familiarity does not mean safety. Some thoughts feel normal only because you carried them for a long time. Fear that feels reasonable is still fear. Doubt that sounds logical is still doubt. And every time you agree with them, you give them permission to speak again. Not authority, but access. And access is enough to disturb peace. This is how doors reopen quietly. No dramatic failure, no visible collapse, just a slow return of unease. Declare this now, gently but firmly. I guard my thoughts. My child, another way doors reopen is through unnecessary exposure. You do not need to explain your peace. You do not need to justify your confidence. You do not need to share every detail of what I am doing in you. Some victories are meant to be protected, not discussed. There are people who listen not to celebrate, but to compare. And comparison always invites tension. You were never meant to make others comfortable with your obedience. You were meant to be faithful. If this resonates, type, I will be discreet. Now listen closely, because this is subtle. Doors reopen when you revisit old emotional habits, replaying conversations, rehearsing arguments that never happened, imagining outcomes rooted in fear. You call it thinking things through, but sometimes it is simply returning to anxiety. Peace does not require rehearsal. Confidence does not require justification. When you find yourself mentally returning to what I already resolved, pause. That pause is powerful. In that pause, say nothing dramatic. Simply acknowledge, this is no longer my concern. That statement closes doors again. My child, understand this truth. Victory must be maintained, not defended. Defense is reactive. Maintenance is intentional. You do not patrol your heart because danger is near. You do it because peace is valuable. And peace attracts more peace. That is why protection prayers are not only for crisis. They are for continuity. They help you remain steady when life becomes quiet again. That is why I continue to place before you a gift of prayers for protection and spiritual strength. Not because you are weak, but because you are moving forward. If you desire to remain guarded without effort, if you want your peace maintained daily, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It is there to help you keep what has been restored. My child, there is another mistake many make after breakthrough. They rush. They try to compensate for lost time. They overcommit. They push themselves unnecessarily. And in doing so, they recreate pressure. Pressure was never your assignment. Progress does not require strain. What I open does not need to be forced. If something requires you to abandon peace, it is not from me. Declare this calmly. I move at God's pace. Doors reopen when you confuse movement with urgency. Urgency belongs to fear. Flow belongs to trust. And you are learning to move with flow. Now, I want to tell you something reassuring. Even if a door begins to creak, even if old thoughts knock softly, you are no longer unaware. Awareness is protection. The fact that you are listening now means you are already guarding your victory. That is why I brought you this far. Not just to break resistance, but to teach you how to remain free. My child, freedom is not fragile. It simply requires attention. Attention to your inner agreements. Attention to your emotional habits. Attention to the words you allow to settle in your spirit. You do not need to be rigid. You need to be conscious. And consciousness is strength. Soon, maintaining peace will feel natural. Guarding your thoughts will feel automatic. Discretion will feel wise, not restrictive. And you will realize you are no longer fighting to stay free. You are simply living free. If you receive this, type, "I remain free." In the next chapter, I will show you how to seal this season permanently, so what I have done becomes your new normal. Stay with me. You are closer to completion than you realize. How this season is sealed forever, so it becomes your new normal. My child, what I am doing now is not temporary. I am not giving you a moment of relief only to return you to the same cycle. What I am doing is establishing a new normal. But for a season to become permanent, it must be sealed. And sealing does not happen through effort. It happens through alignment, consistency, and agreement. Listen carefully. You do not seal a season by revisiting the past. You seal it by living forward without apology. Many of my children break free, but keep checking the chains they no longer wear. They keep asking, "Is this peace real? Will this last?" That question alone reopens uncertainty. Peace does not need interrogation. Peace needs permission to remain. If you are ready to let peace stay, type, "I allow peace." My child, sealing this season begins with how you see yourself now. You are no longer the person who was blocked. You are no longer the one waiting for approval. You are no longer the one who needs to prove endurance through suffering. That version of you has completed its assignment. Honor it, but do not return to it. Identity is powerful. If you continue to identify with who you were in the battle, you will unconsciously recreate battles. But if you identify with who you are after alignment, you move differently. You choose differently. You speak differently. You rest differently. Declare this gently but firmly. I live from peace, not toward it. Now listen closely. This season is sealed by what you repeat consistently, not by what you do once dramatically. Small decisions, daily posture, quiet discipline, choosing rest when anxiety invites panic, choosing silence when explanation tempts you, choosing trust when control tries to return. These are not small acts. They are seals. Every time you choose peace, you reinforce the seal. Every time you choose trust, you strengthen the boundary. Every time you choose discretion, you deepen the protection. My child, sealing this season does not mean life will be silent forever. It means noise will no longer rule you. Challenges may appear, but they will not displace you. Questions may arise, but they will not destabilize you. Opinions may surface, but they will not define you. That is sealing. If you desire this stability, type, "I am established." Now hear me carefully. A sealed season requires maintenance, not vigilance born of fear. You do not guard peace by constantly scanning for danger. You guard peace by remaining aligned. Alignment is effortless compared to anxiety. Alignment does not rush. Alignment does not overthink. Alignment does not rehearse fear. Alignment listens, responds, and moves on. And prayer, when used correctly, keeps alignment intact. Not frantic prayer, not desperate prayer, but covering prayer. Prayer that quietly reinforces what has already been settled. This is why I have kept placing before you a gift of prayers for protection and spiritual strength. Not to pull you back into battle, but to help you maintain this new normal. If you want this season protected without effort, if you want your peace reinforced daily, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It exists to help you remain steady, not alert. My child, another way this season is sealed is through what you no longer tolerate. You no longer entertain conversations that drain you. You no longer stay in environments that confuse you. You no longer explain boundaries that protect your spirit. This is not pride. This is wisdom matured. You are not closing off love, you are closing off noise, and noise was never your calling. Declare this with calm certainty. I protect my peace. Now I want you to understand something important. When a season is sealed, it attracts confirmation. Not always immediately, not always dramatically, but steadily. You will notice consistency replacing chaos, clarity replacing confusion, ease replacing constant effort. And one day, you will realize you stopped bracing for impact. You stopped expecting disruption. You simply began living. That is when you will know. The seal held. My child, do not rush this. Do not measure it daily. Let peace mature. Let trust deepen. Let flow become familiar. Soon, what once felt fragile will feel normal, and what once felt impossible will feel resolved. This is not because life stopped challenging you, but because you stopped being shaken. If this resonates, type, I am grounded. Now I leave you with this truth. Seasons are not sealed by fear of losing them. They are sealed by confidence that they are established. What I have done does not need guarding through anxiety. It needs honoring through alignment. And you, my child, are learning to honor peace. In the next chapter, I will speak to you about the promise that follows this season, and why what comes next will not resemble what came before. Stay with me. The promise that comes after this season. What awaits you now? My child, what you just walked through was not meant to be permanent. It was preparatory. I did not remove resistance just to return you to survival. I did not restore peace, so you could simply recover. I did this because something new is ready to emerge, and what comes next will not resemble what came before. Listen carefully now, because this promise is subtle, and many miss it by looking for something loud. The next season does not arrive with urgency. It arrives with clarity. You will not feel rushed into it. You will not feel pressured to prove yourself. Instead, you will feel drawn toward ideas that feel right, drawn toward environments that feel safe, drawn toward decisions that feel aligned. That pull is not ambition, it is invitation. If you feel drawn rather than pushed lately, type, I feel the invitation. My child, the next season is not about endurance, it is about expression. You spent time learning how to stand. Now you will learn how to move freely. You will speak more calmly, choose more confidently, act without rehearsing failure. Not because life stopped being complex, but because you stopped being fragmented. The resistance you faced taught you discernment. The silence you endured taught you listening. The delay you questioned taught you patience without bitterness. These were not losses, they were installations. Now, something else begins to happen. Your intuition sharpens. You will know when to move without asking 10 opinions. You will know when to wait without second-guessing. You will know when to speak and when silence does more. That knowing is not coincidence. It is maturity. Declare this softly. I trust what you placed within me. My child, the next season will feel lighter, but do not confuse lightness with insignificance. Lightness is efficiency. You will accomplish more with less resistance. Doors will open without explanation. People will cooperate without convincing. Not because they suddenly changed, but because the atmosphere around you did. You are no longer walking through opposition. You are walking through permission. And permission changes dynamics. Now, listen carefully. With this promise comes responsibility. Not heavy responsibility, attentive responsibility. You must not rush to label this season. Do not announce it prematurely. Do not force it into language too quickly. Let it unfold. Some blessings need time to take shape before being named. If you name them too early, others will try to define them for you. This season is yours before it is visible. Protect it quietly. If you understand this, type, I will protect what's growing. My child, you may notice that some people will try to reconnect, not maliciously, not manipulatively, but because they sense change. Discernment matters here. You are not required to return to old patterns to prove you have grown. Growth does not go backward for validation. Growth continues forward with humility and boundaries. You can love without re-entering. You can forgive without reopening. That is wisdom. That is peace maintained. And peace maintained creates space for promise to mature. This is why protection remains essential even in seasons of favor. Not because danger is imminent, but because value has increased. That is why I continue to place before you a quiet gift, a set of prayers for protection and spiritual strength, meant not for crisis, but for continuity. If you desire to keep this season steady and undisturbed, if you want support as things grow quietly, go to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It is there to help you guard growth without fear. My child, the promise ahead will not ask you to abandon who you are. It will use who you are. Your sensitivity will become discernment. Your patience will become strategy. Your empathy will become leadership. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. And soon you will realize that the delay you once resented protected you from arriving too early. Timing matters. You are arriving ready, not rushed. Declare this with calm assurance. I arrive ready. Now hear this final truth of this chapter. The next season will not announce itself as new. It will feel natural. So natural that you may underestimate it. You may think, this feels simple. This feels normal. That is how you know it is aligned. What is aligned does not require struggle to maintain. You will still face decisions. You will still need wisdom. But you will not feel constantly tested. You will feel supported. And when challenges appear, they will refine, not threaten. That is promise fulfilled. My child, you are not stepping into chaos, you are stepping into coherence. Life will begin to make sense in layers, not all at once, and each layer will confirm what I have already spoken. In the next and final chapter, I will give you the closing promise, a declaration to seal everything you have received, and a final prayer that anchors this entire journey. Stay with me. You are at the threshold now. The final seal, the promise, and the prayer that ends all resistance. My child, you have arrived at the end of this message, and that alone tells me something about you. You stayed because your spirit recognized truth. You stayed because something within you was aligning. You stayed because this was never just a video, it was a meeting. Now listen carefully, because what I speak now seals everything. The season of obstruction is over, not ending, over. What attempted to delay you has lost its voice. What tried to confuse you has lost its influence. What positioned itself as a barrier has already been moved out of the way. You may not see every result yet, but the decision has already been made in the unseen. And once a decision is made there, the visible must follow. If you receive this truth, type "It is finished." My child, from this point forward, your responsibility is not to fight, it is to walk. Walk without suspicion. Walk without rehearsing loss. Walk without waiting for permission, because permission has already been granted. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into confirmation. Confirmation will not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like stability. Sometimes it looks like peace that remains. Sometimes it looks like quiet progress. Do not underestimate quiet progress. Quiet progress is protected progress. Now hear me clearly. No person will block what I have approved. No word will cancel what I have spoken. No delay will override my timing. You are not behind. You are not late. You are precisely aligned. Declare this calmly. I am aligned with God's timing. My child, I want you to release something now. Release the habit of bracing for disappointment. Release the instinct to expect resistance. Release the belief that peace must be temporary. Peace is not a pause. Peace is a foundation. From this foundation, you will build differently. You will choose without fear. You will speak without tension. You will decide without panic. And the more you live this way, the more permanent it becomes. That is the seal. Now, I speak a promise over you. In the days ahead, you will notice a shift in how life responds to you. Things will not fight you the way they used to. People will not misunderstand you the way they once did. Situations will resolve with less explanation. This is not because the world changed. It is because you did. You are carrying clarity now, and clarity rearranges environments. If you feel this truth settling, type, I carry clarity. My child, there will be moments when you remember how hard things once were. Do not interpret that memory as a warning. It is a reminder of how far you have come. You are no longer the one who wonders if they will make it. You are the one who moves forward expecting alignment, and expectation shapes experience. Now, before I close, I want to give you a final covering. This is not a long prayer. It is a precise one. Wherever you are, take a breath and receive this. The prayer that seals everything, my child. I place my hand upon your path. I remove every remaining residue of resistance. I silence every voice that spoke against your progress. I seal your mind with clarity. I guard your heart with peace. I surround your steps with protection. No lingering influence will follow you. No hidden opposition will reattach itself. No old cycle will reopen. What I have closed remains closed. What I have opened remains open. I assign protection to your days and rest to your nights. I establish you in confidence, not arrogance. In discernment, not suspicion. In strength, not strain, you will move forward covered. You will build without interference. You will rest without fear. This is sealed. Amen. My child, this prayer does not fade when the video ends. It continues. But wisdom maintains what prayer establishes. That is why I placed before you a quiet, intentional gift. A gift of 21 prayers for protection and spiritual strength, meant to reinforce what has been sealed today, meant to keep you covered as you move forward. If your spirit desires to remain protected and strengthened, go now to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It is there to support you in this new season. Finally, I ask you to do something simple. Do not rush away. Let this settle. And when you are ready, share this message with someone who may be facing unseen resistance. Sometimes the protection they need arrives through you. If this message touched your heart, like the video. If you receive this blessing, comment, I receive. If you want others protected, share this message. I am with you. No one will block your path again. Walk forward. My child, now we arrive at the moment where silence speaks louder than words. You have listened. You have received. You have aligned. And that matters more than you realize. This was not just a message you heard, it was a shift you entered. Many people hear truth and move on unchanged. You stayed. You leaned in. You allowed your spirit to adjust. That is why what you receive today will not fade when this video ends. It will walk with you. From this moment forward, you are no longer reacting to life. You are responding with clarity. You are no longer guessing if resistance will return. You are walking knowing it has already been addressed. You are no longer waiting to feel safe. You are moving covered. My child, I want you to understand something deeply. What was blocking you was never stronger than you. It was only louder while you were unaware. Awareness changes everything. Now you see clearly. Now you move deliberately. Now you walk without hesitation. And when you walk like this, paths open naturally. You do not need to push doors. You do not need to convince destiny. You do not need to prove your worth. What belongs to you will recognize you. This is how alignment works. If you receive this truth, type, I walk forward. My child, there will be days ahead when you feel tempted to return to old thinking. Moments when doubt tries to whisper, what if this doesn't last? When that moment comes, do not argue with fear. Simply remember, what has been sealed does not need defending. Peace maintained becomes peace multiplied. Confidence maintained becomes clarity strengthened. Protection maintained becomes freedom extended. This is why your next steps matter. Not because danger is near, but because value has increased. You are carrying something now. You are carrying stability. You are carrying discernment. You are carrying quiet authority. And what you carry affects those around you. That is why this message was never meant for you alone. Someone connected to you is currently experiencing resistance without understanding why. Someone near you is questioning their path because opposition made them doubt. Someone you know needs protection, but does not know how to ask for it. You are the bridge. Share this message with 3 friends right now. Do not overthink who. The right people will recognize it. When you share, you are not promoting a video. You are extending protection. You are placing clarity in someone else's path. You are doing what alignment naturally does. It multiplies. Now listen carefully. Walking forward does not mean walking unguarded. That is why wisdom prepares even in peace. I have already placed in your reach a quiet gift, a gift of 21 prayers for protection and spiritual strength, designed to reinforce what you received today, designed to keep your spirit covered as you move into this new season. Go now to the first pinned comment and receive the gift prepared for you. It is there for continuity, not urgency, for strength, not fear, for maintenance, not crisis. Use it as support. Use it as reinforcement. Use it as armor when needed. My child, do not rush away from this moment. Let it settle. Peace does not demand speed. Alignment does not demand noise. Let calm become familiar. Let clarity become normal. Let forward movement feel natural. Soon, you will realize that you stopped checking for resistance. You stopped bracing for impact. You simply began living. That is when you will know this message did its work. Before you go, I ask you to do one final thing. Subscribe to this channel. Not for numbers, not for obligation, but because this space will continue to be a place of protection, clarity, and spiritual alignment for you. By staying connected, you remain positioned to receive what you need at the right time. You will not miss what is meant for you. And now, I leave you with this final declaration. No person will block your path. No hidden resistance will delay you. No unseen opposition will confuse you. You walk forward covered, you walk forward clear, you walk forward aligned, and alignment always arrives. Go now. Share this message. Receive your gift. Stay connected. Your path is open. Amen.